Hey Geeks, Mod Tim here with today's Star Trek. So we have finished the original series and now we're moving on to the animated series. Now, the animated series came out in 1973, 4 years after the original series had ended. Now, for me personally, I kind of grew up with cartoons like this, like Johnny Quest and Scooby-Doo. Even like Planet of the Apes had a TV show like this. So I really like it, but it probably it's just that sense of nostalgia for me. Now, Gene Roddenberry hated this series. He did not consider it canon because he admitted he just made it for cash. Whereas Paramount, the company, has said that it is canon. It is considered like the third or the fourth season of the original series. And a lot of things were actually introduced in this series that continued on, and a lot of guest stars reprised their roles from the original series into this. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail for every episode. I'm just going to kind of do it in groups. And then if you guys want to talk about it in the comments, that's great. I'd be happy to talk about it. So for this video, I'm going to start with the first episode, Beyond the Farthest Star. It's an okay episode. It's a little heartless because the Enterprise just leaves this alien life form on a planet and it's literally just yelling, "Help me." So it was kind of sad, but it was an okay episode. And it was kind of weird because it had no callbacks to the original series. It was just a random episode. So I felt like it was a weird pilot episode to start the animated series with. Episode 2, Yesteryear. Now, this was a great episode. This had a lot of references, and I've talked about this one while doing the original series. Spock ends up going back in time using the Guardian of Forever. And we see a lot of things that were first introduced in his parents' episode, the Journey to Babel episode, where Mark Leonard actually reprises the role as Sarek, which he then does further in the movies and in The Next Generation. In Journey to Babel, it was mentioned how Spock was bullied. We see it in this episode, just like we'll see it in the 2009 movie. And she also talks to Kirk and McCoy about his teddy bear with 9-inch fangs. And we see this pet in this episode as well. So this is actually a really good episode. The only kind of niche in it is that they don't explain how things got messed up in time. They just do. Which, you got 20 minutes, so it's a kid's show. Episode 3, One of Our Planets is Missing. Again, this is kind of an interesting. It goes back to the original series where a giant cloud is trying to eat planets, which is something we've seen a lot before. So that didn't really grab me, but what I thought was interesting was in the Ultimate Computer episode of the original series, there was Dr. Langstrom who had developed the Ultimate Computer, but then there was Commodore Wesley. That was the guy that basically told Kirk to install the computer, and he's the one who called Captain Kirk Captain Dunsel. He showed that character shows up in this episode, and evidently after the Ultimate Computer, he retired from Starfleet and now is the governor of a planet. So it wasn't necessary, and I thought it was kind of weird that they included that character. And then again with this one, it has the cloud with Spock doing the mind meld to kind of reach out to it, which I felt like in season 3 they really overused the mind meld, and it looks like they're kind of doing it again with this. Spock's just melding with everything to understand it. And then for this video, I'm going to do the last episode of episode 4, the Lorelei Signal. It's basically kind of a shout out to the Greek sirens. All of the men in the crew get hypnotized, and then it's up to the women who there are more women on the shuttle, but because it's a 20-minute cartoon, we pretty much just see Uhura and Nurse Chapel save the day. And then so after the men get hypnotized, they get infected with this disease and they start aging, and then they use the transporter to basically cure their bodies to put them back to normal. Now, overall, this episode's just kind of okay, but it's interesting that this episode basically gets remade in The Next Generation. In Season 2, Dr. Polanski starts rapidly aging, and they use the transporter to cure her as well. So it's just, like I said, it's kind of interesting how the animated series, branches out into future stuff in Star Trek. So that's all I'm going to do for this one. Have you guys seen the animated series? I feel like most people just kind of ignore it or brush it aside. So let me know. There's only 22 episodes, so that's why I'm going to do it probably in groups of 6. So there's probably only going to be 4 of these videos. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the animated series. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next batch.